Well, welcome to the March 12th Planning Board meeting. As always, our first item of business is to review the February 13th Planning Board meeting minutes. We paid a few bills. We reviewed and acted on 2 wetlands applications, Michael at 2 Bay Avenue and Stitch at 58 Westmoreland Drive. We continued and closed the flower wetlands application at 10 Cheekwood Avenue. And we discussed briefly in other business, tracking the 100 square foot exemption for the wetlands exemption for the building department. Everything here looks in order to me. What about you guys? You have anything?
Good.
Looks good. So I make a motion to accept the February 13th meeting minutes. Does I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Awesome. As always, we have a handful of bills. The first for the Rayner Group. And they break it down into 2 entities, one for subdivision and site plan review, and one for wetlands permits. So for the month of February, the Rayner Group worked on the Elliott and Bousman lot line modification and attended a meeting. That one totaled $1,113.75. And they worked on a wetlands permit, mostly for English and Virtue. That totaled $453.75 for a total of $1,567.50. I always think this is very worthwhile and make a motion to accept the Rayner Group's 2 invoices for the month of February. Do I have a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We did not have invoice for EHA last month, so we have their January invoice now. They did some work on 6th Daniel Lord lot line modification, telephone call with the town attorney, and developing the White and 29 SH Westneck extensions, and attending the meeting in January. So that invoice totaled $2,971.87. There was also a Bloom extension resolution there too. So again, as always, I think we couldn't do it without EHA's involvement, so I make a motion to accept the January invoice for $2,971.87. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we have an invoice for EHA for the month of February, so they catch up on their billing. Reviewing the 2 Bay Avenue application and finalizing the resolution. Same for 58 Westmoreland, Michael resolution. And preparing our wetland exemption memorandums that we distributed for Big Ram and Ram's Head Inn. And reviewing some work on the Elliott Bousman lot line adjustment. This one totaled $2,550.27. So I make a motion to accept the EHA invoice for February in the amount of $2,550.27. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The last invoice we have is from the Shelter Island Reporter for tonight's public hearing notification, $50.38. It's a requirement of ours, so I make a motion to accept Shelter Island Reporter invoice for $50.38. I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have 3 resolutions to review and act on. The first is an extension resolution for SH29 Westneck LLC. and Robert Lipsite and Lois B. Morris, lot line modification. They are having a hard time at the county, waiting for the recordings, the deeds to be recorded, and requested an additional 45-day extension. And this brings them from March 1st to, I believe it's April 15th, Beth, 45 days. Though the resolution says April 26th. Does that make a difference? Should we be reviewing this with a shorter time frame?
No, it should be the 45 days. Was that a Monday?
I don't know. I just
15th?
the other resolution extension had the same
Yeah.
initial date.
No, yeah. 15th is a Monday.
15th is a Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just hate that it shorts them that full week. But I guess just do the 15th.
I'll follow your lead, whatever, but we should do the same for both.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, if you want to put it at the 16th, this way that gives them to that meeting.
The 16th.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do
Or
that.
I guess we don't, wait, the second, do we have a meeting? Is it the meeting in April? Is that the 16th or the 9th?
The 9th.
It's the 9th. Okay, so then the 15th is fine. It doesn't matter either way.
Okay, thank you.
April 15.
April 15th. So this is a standard extension resolution, as we've been approved many times before. So I'm going to make a motion to accept Resolution 13 of 2024 for the SH29 West Neck LLC lot line adjustment. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Roadway. So the same thing for the White Estate, the conditional final approval for their subdivision or the amended subdivision. They're having a hard time getting the surveyor to put in monuments for the road component, or excuse me, for the property component as they were required to do. And they're asking for another 45-day extension, which will likewise take them to April 15th. So that's just as simple. I'm going to make a motion to accept resolution number 14 of 2024 for the Nelson White Estate extension resolution. Do I have a second?
I'll second. Oh,
Either way.
no problem.
All in favor?
Aye.
No, that's the mouse, the cursor for that.
Oh, okay. Like he got his
It looks like
hand thing.
Oh.
Yeah, I get it. It's all right. Thanks.
So the last resolution for the evening is for the flower wetlands application at 10 Cheekwood Avenue. We had 2 public hearings, or actually ended up being 3 since we had to adjourn the first. They're seeking to raise an existing single-family residence, which is located 27 feet from the wetlands. They want to demolish or remove 621 square foot deck and walkways from the vegetative buffer, construct a new 734 square foot waterside deck and stair, and 40 square feet stairs located within the vegetative buffer. Construct 198 square feet north side stairs with 135 square foot that's in the vegetative buffer, and 63 square feet within the adjacent regulated area, and enclose the existing 132 square foot covered porch within the vegetative buffer. That initial application was modified So they are only now asking for a total of 60 square feet additional space in the vegetative buffer. All the rest is within their existing footprint. And we had gone through the findings and conclusions, and we asked that they stick to the plan prepared by Matt Sherman, dated February 7th, the landscape plan prepared by North Fork Landscapes, August 20th, and then prior to any construction, the applicant shall install and maintain 10-foot landward from the bulkhead wire back silt fence to prevent runoff, siltation, and sedimentation during construction until disturbed areas are stabilized. Applicant shall provide and install stormwater collection. Said stormwater collection shall be in conformance with the stormwater plan depicted on the approved site plan. The property shall be revegetated in accordance with the landscape plan. In order to protect the stability of the bulkhead, no heavy machinery shall be brought within 10 feet landward of the existing bulkhead, and that's why we asked for that silt fence to be located there as a barrier. All parking during construction shall be maintained on site and no blocking of Cheekwood Avenue will be permitted. This shall only be valid for 2 years, and upon completion, the town's environmental consultant shall review that the plantings in the landscape plan have been met. So I think they showed that they were willing to reduce their expansion to 60 square feet, and they're using 60 of the 100 square foot exemption that they're permitted. And this is well documented in the resolution, even in the header. So the building department should know this. Does there make any sense, do you guys feel, since we started writing these memos, that we should write a similar memo for the building department to notify them that they've used a 60 square foot exempt of their 100 square foot exemption, or is this sufficient? How belt and suspenders do you want to be?
Well, it says it all in there, right? I think it's just, it says it, even says it right up here.
Yeah, no, that's what I said, it's in the header.
Yeah, I think
It's-
that's fine.
Is that enough?
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah.
funny.
Should we check with the building department with their preference?
Okay, I can do that tomorrow. It's easy enough to write a memo. All right, so that's the case, and no one has any other changes or thoughts on this. I'm going to make a motion to accept resolution number 15 of 2024.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have one public hearing tonight. Yeah. And I'll read the notice quickly, a public notice. Notice is hereby given that the Shelter Island Planning Board will hold a public hearing at 7 p.m. prevailing time on March 12th, 2024 in the Shelter Island Town Hall, Shelter Island, New York, at which time all interested parties shall be heard regarding the application of Joy Bausman and Andrew and Melissa Elliott for a lot line modification of lands purportedly owned by them, located in the C Residence District, with footage along Joy Drive and South Midway Avenue, which parcels are identified on the Suffolk County tax map as parcels 718-276.3, which is Lot A, and 718-376.1, which is Lot B. The application proposes to transfer 25,887 square feet of land from Lot B to Lot A. As a result, the area of Lot B will decrease from approximately 75,437 square feet to 49,550 square feet. And the lot area for Lot A will increase from approximately 30,839 square feet to 56,726 square feet. Today, we received email from the Bausmans attorney who has just been engaged, requesting an adjournment of tonight's public hearing. So I think they want time to get up to speed on the full application. I think that's fair. And I believe we should adjourn. I make a motion to adjourn this meeting until March 12th. Second. All in favor?
You turn to
Don't-
April.
April, right?
April.
What did I say?
This is March.
Oh,
My bad, sorry.
I'm sorry. Change the agenda. It's April.
Matt doesn't get to say anything? Text him.
We've adjourned the meeting until next month at request of the Bowsman's Council.
Muted.
It shouldn't be fair to allow one side to talk and the other one not be ready for the application, so that's why this was requested.
Can I ask a question of point of order? This is Andrew Elliott. Matt Sherman has been in contact with the Bowsmans for 15 months on this matter.
They just retained counsel and their attorney has asked for time to review the file and be prepared for the meeting in April. So they
So
just
they
asked
didn't
for
feel-
additional month.
So they didn't feel for the last 15 months that they needed to retain counsel
Maybe
during
not.
that part?
I don't, it's
That's-
a reasonable request. I don't-
That's outside of our purview.
No, it's not.
Okay, so that ends our public business meeting and on to the work session. Our current applications, we have a Bloom minor subdivision. Last month, we extended their final application date to July 11th. They have engaged, I think, Shelter Island Sand and Gravel to install a sanitary system, AI sanitary system, which is part of what they need to move ahead with the health department. So they're working at this as best they can. We just extended SH29 Westnick LLC until April 15th. And we did the same with the White Roadway construction. 6 Daniel Lord Road, and 3 Borough Hall lot line adjustment. We received the deeds last week. Beth, have you been able to look at them?
I haven't had the opportunity to review them, but I will soon. So
Okay.
I'll let the applicant know and the board know as soon as I review them.
Thank you very much. So that's in process, and they have till July 11th to provide proof of filing. And we just adjourned the Elliott Bowsman lot line adjustment. In other meetings, I was asked to briefly discuss plans and surveys that are submitted with applications. I guess some of the applications that we've been receiving don't have stamped, design professionals stamped and sealed, or surveys, stamped and sealed documents. And I think, personally, I think that's a standard that we should be getting on all as best as possible. I know sometimes people who still paper stamp, so especially on a large format drawing, they may not have a large format scanner. So I think it's probably okay for the preliminary documents that we get in the PDF format not to have these stamps on and signatures, but I think paper copies should be properly stamped.
15 copies.
15 copies, yes. So if we get a full-size site plan, that makes sense. We get house drawings. I don't necessarily think those are, because we're not reviewing the house drawings.
Right.
But a site plan and a landscape plan and a surveys should have stamps on. So that clearly is a matter of policy that we should be enforcing. Is there a need to put that into our application as a
As a requirement.
As a requirement.
If it's not getting done, then it should be. We're having an issue with it. We should add it to it.
All right, so I will update that for our next meeting for all to review. I gave everyone a little bit of work that we discussed about last month to review our current wetlands applications, how it applies to the exemption determinations that we are making. And I took a first stab and sent it around this afternoon. And
It's in their back.
It's in the, both in here.
Wetlands exemption.
so I guess the way the application gets written and the information we require all depends on how we are reviewing this.
No,
You guys find it?
I did not find it. I looked at it earlier. Oh, here it is. Got it.
Keep looking, man. You got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in black and white.
If we are very, very specifically looking
I
just,
haven't found it yet. What are you talking about?
very specifically just looking at whether we're judging whether this 100 square foot has been used in the past, then I think that's a very limited set of requirements that we need. If we are to look at what is being proposed as in format, then I think we should know what the materials are and where it's located more specifically on the property. So I don't know exactly what our mandate is. And at the last month, we looked very specifically just at the use, whether the 100 square foot had been used or not. But it comes to mind that someone may be using 100 square foot to put in an 8 by 8 foot hot tub close to the water that might be gunite and dug in, excavated, materials pulled out.
yeah.
Maybe it's going to be located in a section of the wetlands that they're not specifically to be out of. And so that would require a little additional information.
Pretty much what you're saying is what I have in my notes here.
Yeah,
I mentioned the same thing, like basically this exemption structure, like the two most important things are water recharge and possibly water contamination, just in the back of your mind when you're looking at it. So I was thinking, I want to know, as you said, how the existing structure will affect what's going on around it, whether you're building something or moving something, like, replacing something like disturbance of soil.
but if
Right.
we're talking about a
Yeah.
10-foot structure, that's from the edge of the window to the wall
Yeah,
and here. We're really not, it's very de minimis, in the amount of rain, storm water it's going to deflect.
yeah.
We're not allowed to go into the ground.
But as you just mentioned, like a hot tub,
But
You know, you're
I
digging
don't know
up,
if they're
you
gonna,
know.
if we just take a pre-made hot tub and drop it in place on a
Would be
wood
okay.
platform, then
Yes.
that should be
Yeah.
okay. If there's full excavation, then it's a little bit more.
but you also would want to know what it's made out of. Like, where is it and what's it made out of?
And I don't know if that's within our purview, what we've been asked for. So maybe I push back to the town board a little bit for clarification.
Some clarification for you, because I'm not.
Is it? Sorry.
Hi, Beth, please. No,
Yeah, so Beth-
love your.
I just- Wasn't the question trying to determine whether or not the 100-foot exemption has been utilized or not at the point? Like,
So that's a very
or whether it's
specific,
available for the project to be used moving forward, which to me requires a full review of all the building department files, right? Which seems that the building department should have to, or I don't know how you make that determination without all of the building department files
I get
or
What you're s-
reviewing all
I
of
get
them.
what you're saying, and it really should be in a purview in the building department. But last time, the building department doesn't feel comfortable making that determination. because they haven't kept their records since the adoption of the wetlands code in July 20th of 2021. So
So then how is the planning board supposed to do that?
So we're doing it, exactly, for last month, I went through the planning board file, the building
Right.
department files, page by
But
page.
that was more straightforward. If you have something that's a little more complicated or something that's more, I just don't, if the building department can't make the determination by reviewing their files, how is the planning department or planning board supposed to make a determination based
So
on
we-
what?
We're also looking at historical satellite photos to the best are possible. And we have that on the county GIS viewer has historical data going to, they have a satellite image from 2021 and then multiple years after that. So by looking at each one, then we can see whether something is cropped up or not. When something crops up, knowing the actual size of it we would only be able to determine if we went out and measured in the field. But this is just something that the building department has pushed back against for some time about not wanting to take on this task, wanting us to do it. And the town board and town attorney, as I understood it, wanted a more formal review determining process.
Can I interject, It's David Austin? It seems like it's the building department's purview. It's their responsibility that the paid employees of the town full-time to go do this kind of thing. And we're volunteers / we're employees, but very part-time. To be able to go and do this level of work seems extra. They have access to all the same GIS information that we would have. It does seem, if you're going to really do this, the planning board, or excuse me, the planning department, it needs to keep these records. And if they don't have the records, then they need to start creating them for, as they go. In my opinion.
What do you guys think?
Well,
Marcus?
I was thinking, like what Beth said, I thought this was a determination, see if you already used the 10 by 10. But now it's starting to sound like you want them to get, it's not a free.
Well, I
10 by 10.
I
You
was-
want to do an application for
Well,
it.
the question I have was when I was looking at the old application, are we just saying, okay, it's been used before? No, great, they get it. Or do we even care what it's made out of and where it is? Like, you have to.
I think that the very simplest form is just whether or not they've used it or
And
not.
that's it.
Yeah, because 10 by 10 is so de minimis, And
And the reality is that the current code, that's all it says, right? So there's how deep you do or whatever, the code doesn't say, right? So there's no rules to.
So
follow.
then only if they change the code, maybe sometime down the road.
Okay.
then maybe-
So then this application even becomes more restrictive,
Yeah.
limited. But then that goes to Beth's question as to whether this really belongs here or it belongs back at the building department.
Yeah, let me take it back to the town board because I want some clarifications on what exactly we're asking you to do, because now I'm not clear at all.
We had discussed
Yeah,
this in the
and-
past.
And to follow up, because even in the last decision that we just did for the flowers one, yes, we wrote a note on that approval that they are utilizing 60% of their, or not 60 square feet of their 100%
60.
exemption. What if they never build it? Now, okay, well, now somebody's looking through the file, they gotta make sure, okay, yes, it says it here, but now I gotta follow the trail and make sure that it was actually built. So where do I find that? A CO. So it just seems that the certificate of occupancy would be the place that you would track where and when these exemptions were utilized and how much of it was utilized.
The other
Not
thing-
in a planning board file.
The other thing we were discussing in regards to the exemption is it's really, as I think most people understand it, it's a accumulation of up to 100 square feet. So if you use 20 square feet here, 40 square foot there. But at one point you say, man, I don't need these 20 square feet anymore. I want to expand my 40 foot over here. And the building department was refusing to look at it that way because, again, they said, we don't have any historic records of how it's been used. And that's where I had a year and a half ago volunteered to allow the planning board to make that determination. And I think that's where this idea of giving it to us came from. Just basically because there was no, I mean, I think the correct interpretation of that, of 129.3H is really that it's an accumulation. And it's not a one and done. And the way the building department was looking at, well, if you say you're only going to use 20 square feet, you've done. You can't use it anymore. You can't get rid of it and use it again. You can't even use the 80 square feet. You're still available to you. So I was using this as a way of, you know, having this discussion.
But my question would be, is it our place to have that discussion? This seems to me like a larger town, you know, code related, like, because you could read that definition multiple different ways. So you need to have a legal determination, which I would think would have to go to the town attorney / working with the board to determine that.
Okay, that
Right,
was
and
my
I think
last,
if the building department is unsure about how to apply it, then I think that's when they would request the town board to make either clarification or some sort of, you know, amend the town code to be clear, or to say what their intent with this code actually was. How is it, you know, they can be clear in an update to the code as to how to apply the section of code to applications moving forward, and
we
give
have
the
been,
building department that clarification.
we have been trying to do that, and I thought we were there with the last time I presented with the town board, had a public discussion on this, and they in essence agreed to that definition of 129.3H, of that is not a once and done, and it can be partitioned and removed and redone. And that was what the town board agreed to in their work session. Now,
But has there been a resolution that's changed the
That's
code to be explicit about that?
yeah, it's I have to leave that to the town attorney.
I think our job is to follow the rules, right? And it's like, if the
Well,
rules
it's
haven't been,
also how we interpret the rules, and I personally interpret that it's as I've been saying it is, you know, flexible in that
Yeah.
regard, and that's how I've been interpreting it for 3 or 4 years.
I
And
believe you're correct, that's how they interpreted it at the last work session.
yeah, and that's how they interpreted them too.
Should we wait to see what
Yeah, I'll take it back to the board and
she
we'll discuss it.
comes up with?
Give you
Okay.
some clarity on.
And
direction.
again, what I said also, is it just like yes, no, and nothing else, or should we be looking at other things?
All right, so then we're not spending any more time on this for now.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on to the wetlands applications. We have Tesoro at 1 Seagull Road. We're waiting on additional information from the applicant. Beagleman Holding, we received Joe's memo today. Joe, do you want to briefly walk us through this?
Sure. Had a chance to look over this application. It's on a parcel that's almost 125,000 square feet and has over 258 feet of frontage on Gardner's Bay. There's a metal bulkhead that extends across the waterfront. So wetland measurements are taken from mean high water in this instance. The site is improved. There's a 2-story house, existing 2-story house, and it's presently being remodeled. Covered porches and decks, swimming pool with a patio. There's a 2-story accessory sleeping building. with one bed, a sports court, and a gravel driveway. There's an existing frame walk and stairs that provides access down the bluff to the beach area along Gardner's Bay. The proposed redevelopment includes demolition of existing sports court and construction of a tennis court in its place. A detached garage will also be proposed. Both of these structures are outside of the town wetland jurisdiction. There's an existing undersized conventional sanitary system that is less than 100 feet away from mean high water. And this will be replaced by an IA system, which is landward of the residence and approximately 225 feet away from the water. Drainage structures to handle stormwater runoff are proposed. All are located outside of the regulated area on the site plan prepared by Sherman Engineering. However, the proposed site plan prepared by Jason Thomas Architect shows a dry well in front of the residence that is located in the adjacent regulated area. Sherman Engineering site plan shows this dry well placed under a deck and completely outside of the adjacent regulated area. So the plan should be revised to be consistent. The applicants are looking for a permit for the following: replace existing treads, risers, railing within the vegetated buffer, reconstruct the existing pool, patio, deck, and stairs within the adjacent regulated area, removal of steps, and providing a new stone walkway of equal area in the adjacent regulated area. Regrading an area of it looks like roughly about 2,000 square feet, maybe a little bit less. It's landward of the top of the bluff within both the vegetated buffer and the adjacent regulated area. Some of this area will have to be disturbed when the existing sanitary system is removed. The proposed contours extend past the top of the bluff, so any disturbance in this area should be avoided. Installation of an exclusionary 4-foot-high pool and deer fence is proposed. And the proposed site plan with revegetation prepared by Jason Thomas Architect is included in the submission. They have received a letter of non-jurisdiction or no jurisdiction from the New York State DEC. And even though they have this letter of non-jurisdiction, the coastal erosion hazard line crosses the property. So any work seaward of the coastal erosion hazard line will require a permit from the DEC. So most of that work has to deal with rebuilding the stairs and that go down to the beach. Approval from the Suffolk County Department of Health Services has not been obtained or is not in the wetland packet. And approval will be required prior to the issuance of a building permit. Aside from that, I think that the application is generally acceptable and the planning board should consider scheduling a public hearing on the matter.
Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
You guys all feel comfortable setting this one?
Yeah.
All right, let's set this one for April 12th, not March 12th, April 12th.
April 9th. April 9th.
Oh, no.
Next meeting date's April 9th. Twice.
But you will draft the notice, right?
Beth, you don't mind drafting
No
notes?
problem.
Thank you.
No problem.
The next one is for English Virtue at 6G Hager Road. We need volunteers for this one. Matt, do you feel like doing one?
No.
Anyone want to do one with Matt? I'll do it.
Oh, I can do it.
How many others are you doing right
I don't
now?
have long.
Okay.
Okay.
We have a memo on this one too. Joe? Can I ask you to walk us through, please?
Okay,
Who's doing this?
We don't know.
The pixels, you and
No, but that one.
Julie. Matt.
the subject property is on the north side of Hager Road, and it's really, it's a private road in this section. It's about 685 feet east of Menantic Road. Subject property is in the zoning district C and the nearshore overlay district. The site has an area of 18,685 square feet. District C requires 40,000 square feet, making the site non-conforming. The site is a little more challenging because the depth from the road to the water is about between 90 and 100 feet. So there's not a lot of room on site. There's only a small sliver, a small triangle in the southwest corner of the property that is outside of the adjacent regulated area. The site's improved with a 2-story house that has a 1-story section with covered decks, a 1-story detached garage, 2 gravel driveway areas, a spa, and a paver walkway. There are also wooden stairs that provide access down the bluff to a dock on Menantic Creek. Almost all of these structures are in the vegetated buffer. Site improvements include an 8.2 by 12.2 foot deck that's located in the vegetated buffer. That was built without the benefit of a wetland permit. The applicants are seeking approval of the structure to legalize it. The site contains a conventional sanitary system that's a little over 52 feet away from mean high water. No changes to either the sanitary system or water supply are proposed. Therefore, approval from the health department is not necessary. Stormwater runoff from the roofs of the residence and garage are collected and piped to existing dry wells. The locations of those dry wells are not known. The applicants are seeking permit for the following: demolish and remove 140 square foot portion of existing decks located within the vegetated buffer on the west side of the house and reconstruct the required guard and railing to the deck. Construct new steps and landing totaling 38 feet on the north side of the house, that's the water side of the house, in the vegetated buffer. Removal of existing steps, 16 square feet on the westerly side of the front porch of the house in the adjacent vegetated buffer. Removal of an existing spa in the vegetated buffer. Construction of a hot tub and steps totaling 92 square feet, and construction of a 24-foot concrete pad for hot tub equipment in the adjacent vegetated area. Construction of 126 square foot roof overhang outside of the building footprint on the north side of the house in the vegetated buffer. Reconstruct and expand the concrete apron on the south side of the garage. Redecking the existing deck that had been built without a permit. The plan also indicates that the existing driveway that's on the westerly side of the house is to be removed. However, no mention of this is included in the application. If the gravel driveway and parking area is to be removed, it's presumed that this area will be revegetated in some manner. The plan does not indicate that at all.
The garage.
Well, there's a small gravel driveway over by the garage that's on the opposite side of the property. That's to remain.
Okay, all right.
But, you know, it appears that, you know, you may get a car in the garage and you may get one car on the driveway, but that's about it. But maybe that's all they need. The wetland package includes a letter of non-jurisdiction from the New York State DEC for work that takes place landward of the top of slope or the bank. Any work that's proposed seaward of that line would need a permit. And I think that's about it. Again, the review of the material submitted, I think that the wetland application is generally acceptable, and that planning board should consider scheduling a public hearing. We would recommend that the applicant provide some clarification regarding the gravel driveway prior to the hearing.
Hi, Joe, thank you.
You're welcome.
What do you guys think? Public hearing for this next month? You
Yes.
okay with it?
Sure.
All right, so let's go ahead and set that. I think both of these applications that we just talked about are gonna help, we're gonna have to, when the time comes, appropriate time, and not right now, and not next, might be next week, discuss how we're addressing with stuff that's rebuilt in kind in the vegetative buffer, because we had to deal with that on Carpe, and we dealt with it one way, and we seem to be coming up against this left and right, so. Good. We have, we just received one more wetlands application for Dunn. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, at 18 and 20 Todd Hill Drive. Joe, may I ask you to put together a memo for that for our next meeting?
Very good.
And if you haven't received the application yet, we'll get a copy to you.
No, I have received it.
Okay, we can get that for next meeting, that'd be awesome.
Okay.
Who wants to do that one? I'll sign up for it.
I can do it.
You want me to do it? David, you want another one, or should I sign up for this one?
I'm happy to do, I'm doing the one that we're doing the public meeting next, but I can do another. That's totally fine.
And I don't mind doubling up either, so.
We can
I'll give
Rochambeau.
it to you. I'll
We
give
can
it to you.
Rochambeau.
I'll give it to you.
Okay, I'll take it. No problem.
Okay, that's it for the wetlands applications. We still have 2 special permit applications, 5 Wood Road and 1 Pandian Road. They're both on hold pending the large house moratorium. That's it for me. Anyone from the audience? Anyone from Zoom? Any questions, comments? Pam, you have some questions?
Yes, I do. Good evening, everyone. I guess my question is, you're setting the public hearings for the Beagleman and the English wetlands applications, but the CAC has not reviewed those projects.
We're sending, we're releasing them to look at those, and they have a meeting the week before we next meet, so they should hopefully be able to get a CAC recommendation to us.
Okay, because I know that Howard didn't talk about it last week when they had a meeting. Okay, very good. Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you. Anyone else? If that is the case, I make a motion to close the March 12th planning board meeting. Have a second?
Second. Third,
All in
fourth.
favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.
Thanks, everybody.
Right.